material
Oh,
and we can study. Wait a minute.
okay.
Yes, I
Let's
think
see.
next time
Okay.
we can look at the voiceover.
Ooh, wow. These are okay.
Yes, I also read the explanation and sentence.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, the first one, brief,
Hmm.
short, about time, now then.
Yes.
Before we begin class, let me briefly introduce myself.
Hmm.
Okay. So brief is I couldn't use to the lens.
Yes, it's not like I can't say that um this clip is very brief.
It's weird.
You absolutely cannot do it. If you said that, they wouldn't even know how to autocorrect that. Like a native speaker wouldn't even like think, "Oh, she means short." They would just be like, "It's brief? What what do you mean?" Like
Really? So
yeah,
if
like
I
really,
say
it would be so confusing. They would just have no idea because it sounds like it should make sense and yet it doesn't make sense at all. Brief is only for time.
oh, okay,
Only
I
for time.
see.
Mhm.
So if I want to say this is I have to say this is long.
That's long. This is short.
Oh,
So your
okay.
pencil is
Oh, yeah,
long,
yes, sure.
my clip is short. Your pencil is long,
Okay.
my clip is short, and we are talking for a brief time.
Brief time.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Brief.
Uh-huh.
Briefly
Yeah,
introduce.
so you can say a brief time. You
Brief
can,
time.
yeah, if you want to use it as an adjective, you can say a brief time. If you want to use
Brief
it
news.
brief news, yeah. Um, brief news is a little bit awkward. Um,
Oh,
we would usually because it's like, well, what do you mean by brief news? Like, um,
very short. Very short
then I would have to use,
report.
yeah, then I would have to have something else there, like a brief news report.
Mm.
Then it's
Oh, a brief news report.
then it's referring to the report instead of referring to news. If you use it to refer to news, it's a little bit unclear. Like, how
Oh,
is it brief? Like, were they telling you? Did you read it? Did you see it on TV? I'm not sure. So if
uh.
I say a brief news report, I could say a brief news article
A brief news article.
if
Okay.
I was reading it.
Oh, I see.
I could say a brief news announcement,
Oh,
and then that's something that I heard. So I
also,
just
could I say a brief announcement?
yes,
Oh,
you don't need news
okay.
there at all, actually. But to just say a brief news, it's too incomplete. We need something else
Oh,
there. So report, article, announcement, website, I don't know, whatever you want to say, like whatever is there. But just to have
oh,
news by itself, it's not quite clear enough.
I see. So maybe I have to say a form because report and article and announcement is
Mhm.
a form.
Yes, like
Oh.
how because brief, you're talking about a short period of time. So, like, I need to know, was it a short period of time that they were announcing something? Is it a short
Mm,
period of time that you were reading something, or a short
mm.
period of time that you were
Oh,
watching something on TV? Like,
mm.
I kind of need to know that to feel like I understand.
Oh, I see.
Uh,
Okay, thank you so much.
yeah, that one's a little bit tricky. And then yeah, for anything else, like what would you say brief? Like using it as an adjective. Um, a brief visit?
Brief- Eh?
A brief visit?
Very short visit.
Very short visit. Oh, I just stopped by to drop off some food. It was a brief
Mm.
visit. It was a very brief visit.
Oh,
Uh, um,
a brief presentation.
exactly. Although, presentation, it sounds like it should be something big. So, like, I mean, it's possible to have a brief presentation. Yeah, it's absolutely possible. It's just like, oh yeah, that was a very brief presentation. Like, I was expecting something big, and that was like, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That was brief.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Probably more common to use it as an adverb, the way they have it in the example here. Briefly. Briefly. Yeah.
Oh.
I just stopped by briefly to bring you something.
Briefly. Okay, briefly. Could I say shortly?
No. I mean, it's a word. It is a word, but the understanding is very different. So, shortly means soon.
So for this, for the material, the sentence, let me briefly introduce myself. I couldn't say let me shortly introduce myself. Okay.
Never. Not even once. There's
So different.
it's the meaning is different. I know it looks, if you're just looking at the word, you're like, short, it means the same as brief, right? But
Yeah.
as soon as you change it to shortly, then the meaning changes. So shortly means soon.
Soon.
Yeah. So if I say, if I call you up and I say, I'll stop by your house shortly, it means I'll stop by your house soon. It does not mean I'll stop by your house for just a brief time. I could stop by your house for 2 hours, but I will do it soon. I will do it shortly.
Oh, maybe just 1 minute, 2 minutes. Shortly.
When I'm coming. It's not how long I'm staying. It's
Okay.
when I will reach your house.
Uh,
Okay, like, yeah, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 5 minutes. I'll be there shortly. So, like, I'm going to arrive at your house very soon. That's shortly.
Oh, I
It has nothing to do with how
It's
long you're going to
different.
stay. It's totally different. You have to like
Oh.
drill it into your head that it's even, don't think about what it looks like, because it's going to be very confusing if you think, but it's short. It's short.
Yes.
No, it's shortly.
Oh,
Shortly is completely different from short.
okay. Oh, shortly and short is different.
Different.
Okay, I see.
Probably like 200 years ago, they started off as the same word, but over time, shortly changed. Short stayed the same. Shortly changed. So now shortly means soon.
Oh.
So you can never ever replace briefly with shortly, ever. Never. You can't.
Okay.
But you can replace soon with shortly.
Oh, okay, I see.
So if you want
Oh.
to test that you're using shortly correct, switch it with soon. If it makes sense, then you're good.
Okay, I see. Wow.
Yeah. So this
It's
sentence that I sent you means I'll stop by your house soon. I'll stop by your house soon.
okay. Oh, I
How long
see.
I'm going to stay? I don't know. I could stay all day. I could sleep there.
Mm.
I don't know. But
Wow.
it just means that I'm going to reach your house soon. I'll stop by your house shortly.
It's amazing for me
I
to
know,
learn
right?
shortly.
It's like really, really
Confused. Okay.
just
Oh, I
because
see.
it looks like something that would be very obvious, and yet
Yeah.
it's totally not what it looks like. It's a very deceiving word. This is a word that's going to trick you.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. It's good to get
Yeah.
that one because it really does look like you should be able to do briefly and shortly the same. And yet,
Because for English learner,
I know.
learner,
Mhm.
briefly and shortly
They
it
look
makes sense.
so much the same. They look so much the
Yeah.
same. Yeah, the
Yes.
understanding is very different.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, it sounds so painful to use
Why? Why?
to use shortly wrong. If somebody uses shortly wrong, if they use it like briefly, to me it's like physical pain. Like
Shortly visit.
that's not what that means.
Okay, I see. I will remember your lesson. I would try to automatically correct myself to
Well,
say.
because when you said like, and there was a very, very good question. You're like, so in this example, before we begin, let me shortly introduce myself. Like, it's so wrong. It hurts. It's so wrong. It hurts. Like,
Okay.
no,
So if I say let me shortly introduce myself, you would feel a little bit awkward.
yes.
Okay, I see.
Let me briefly introduce myself. Perfectly smooth and beautiful. Let me briefly introduce myself. Yeah,
Okay, thank you so much.
not interchangeable.
Okay, I
Okay, so
see.
the next one.
Constant, not changing and not stopping, continuous.
Mhm.
The river flows constantly through the year and never freezes.
Yeah.
The river is pronounced river or river.
No, it's somewhere in between there. It's river.
River,
River, yeah. Yeah.
river.
Yeah. It's that English short I sound that's only in English. Yeah, that's that English short I. So it's not E and it's not I. It's
River, river,
river. Perfect. Perfect.
river.
The reason I had this face on
Hmm?
um is because I don't feel comfortable with through. I feel like that should be throughout. Um so I'm going to change that sentence to
Ah, I
this
see. The river flows constantly throughout the year.
throughout the year and never freezes. If you say through, it sounds like through a place, like physically through a place.
Oh,
Throughout can go either way. We can use it with a physical place or you can use it with time. And in
oh,
this case, they're referring to time throughout the year. If
oh,
you just say through
oh.
the year, it sounds like the year is something and it's going through the year. I'm like, that's weird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Throughout the year.
if you're using, if you want to use through with time, it's better with throughout.
So
Throughout the
through
week.
and throughout, the meaning
It's the
is
same.
very similar.
It's the
It's
same.
the same,
Yeah. It's
but
just,
but the through is describe maybe the place or distance.
or something like the sun is coming through the window. The window is a thing, you know?
Oh, it's a physical thing.
Yeah. Yeah. If I'm going to say, throughout time, there have always been, I don't know, whatever. Like there have always been, I can't even think of an example.
So if I want to set a time, I have to use throughout.
Throughout, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So this just like when I read the sentence, it just brought this weird mental image to my mind. Like through the year, like the year is something and it's going through. Like this feels so
Oh,
strange to me. Why does this feel so strange?
yes. I don't have the sense or the feeling of
I
the
know.
English.
I know. And that's,
Yes.
yeah, again, that's just what native speakers can give to you
Yes. Yes.
to get that feeling. But as far as constant, that's perfectly fine. The river flows constantly throughout the year and never freezes. It doesn't
Constant.
change. It doesn't stop.
Continuous. Continuous. Okay. So Continuous. Could I say the river flows continuously throughout the
Yes.
year?
Yes. Yes, you can. Yeah, those are
Okay.
synonyms.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one's not too hard.
Yes.
The next one's not too hard either. Let's do that while we have time.
Lecture.
Mm-hmm.
A long speech about one topic that that teaches, especially in a classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Professor Jackson's lecture are too long. I always fall asleep. Okay.
Yeah. And then you can see it's also
Mm,
the verb.
yes. To give a long speech about a topic when trying to teach. When I was in high school, my father often lectured me on the dangers of alcohol.
Alcohol. Uh-huh.
Alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this lecture, it's just a speech, a talk that's teaching something, but it has come to have the idea of something that's very boring.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if you're strictly in like a college setting,
Mm.
and you're talking about the teacher, the professor's lectures, okay, fine. People probably aren't going to think that.
How about our lesson? This
No,
is
this
a
isn't a
lecture.
lecture. This is not a lecture. This is a conversation. A lecture is one-sided. There's no back and forth. A lecture
Oh.
is just like da 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 da.
Oh, I see. So in the high school or elementary school,
Not
they
usually
they
so
are.
much. No, not usually so much. Because especially not elementary school, young children do not have the attention span to listen to a lecture. They're going to be like, "Wow," all over the place.
So
So
that is lesson or class.
a class, a lesson, yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
A lecture is usually something long. And so
and bored or boring.
that's the idea that we kind of have on it now, which is why the second example, when I was in high school, my father often lectured me on the dangers of alcohol. Like in my mind, I'm seeing the dads going, "You shouldn't do this, and you shouldn't," and the son is like, "Yeah, yeah,
Ah, yes.
yeah, yeah."
Okay. I see. Oh, I see. Oh, so lecture is someone they give the speech to a lot of people and it's almost
It could be
boring.
a lot of people, or in the second example was just the son. The father was
Oh,
lecturing the son. It doesn't have to be like the original lecture. Yeah, you would assume it was like in a classroom setting.
yes.
But now they've kind of like changed it a little bit too. So like the father lecturing the son, he's still
Mm.
going on and on. It's not two-way. He's not asking for his son's opinion. He's just like, and the son, okay, okay. I got it.
How about okay, okay. I see. Okay, so this is could be the one-on-one.
Yes,
Yeah.
nowadays definitely it could be. So the
Oh.
original meaning was like the professor in a classroom full of students, and he's just teaching them. He's explaining something. Okay. But now, you also have this other sense to it of somebody he's not doing any back and forth. It's just this.